Morning, all. All right, starting things off with the news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Wednesday, February the 19th, starting with the Boston Bruins. And the reason that I'm wearing Bruins gear right now, Charlie McAvoy. So there have been rumors about whether or not he'd gone into the hospital. Looks like that he did. Not saying that he's there right now, but he's on IV antibiotics. So at any rate, it's a shoulder injury he got. The pain was getting worse, so they got him checked out. They got him on antibiotics. He is improving. It looks like he's going to be out for weeks. Joe Sacco saying as well that it's not going to be a short-term injury, probably medium-term. So looking at probably 2 to 3 weeks, I would think, with McAvoy. This will negatively impact Boston's chances of making the playoffs. They were already in kind of sketchy territory with the playoffs, but being without McAvoy for an extended period will definitely hurt them. So all the best to him, and hopefully his shoulder heals up quickly. It's a good thing they got him in there. Because it definitely looks like it was an infection that was making it more painful for him, and so getting that treated, good news for him and for the Bruins, and so yeah, all the best to him. Canucks news, and not great news here either. Thatcher Demko, he is not expected to travel with the team on their upcoming 5-game road trip. So another long-term injury for Thatcher Demko. Lankinen's going to be put into the starter's role. I wonder if this is going to affect what Alvin does at the trade deadline. Do you want to add another goaltender for some depth? Pick up a third-string goaltender and go from there? Like a Spencer Martin type, right? Not saying Spencer Martin in particular, but just that type of goaltender that can come in and play as the backup to Lankinen for now. We'll see what the Vancouver Canucks end up doing, but if he's not going to be on the 5-game road trip, we've already had the 2-week break now. That definitely signals that it's a long-term injury for Demko, and I won't be surprised if it's related to the injury he's been dealing with. Anyways, we knew he was going to continue to deal with that, and basically he was playing through it. Quinn Hughes is still not eligible to play tomorrow for Team USA unless there's another injury. So Team USA is saying they're working on it. So working on injuring a player to get him in the lineup. Either way, the Canadian team is perfectly fine with Quinn Hughes coming in and playing. He is currently still skating with the Vancouver Canucks. He also yesterday was skating in a non-contact jersey, so that tells you he's not 100%. So we'll see whether or not Hughes ends up going to Boston. They want to get him there. They want to get him in the lineup. I know he wants to play, but it's just a matter of whether or not the NHL will make for that allowance. Brady Tkachuk was not at practice for Team USA. He's still expected to play tomorrow, but him not being at practice. This is where, if you're an Ottawa Senators fans, your ears should prick up just a little bit, because, of course, if Tkachuk is injured in this tournament and not able to play for Ottawa in their return to action, it will negatively impact their playoff chances as well. So, fingers crossed that Tkachuk doesn't miss any games for Ottawa. I'd like to see the Senators in the playoffs for a change. There was a minor trade that took place yesterday in the NHL. Future considerations traded yet again. This time Vegas acquires future considerations. Going to Nashville, 24-year-old forward Grigory Denisenko, a former first-round pick back in 2018 by the Florida Panthers, I do believe. In his career, Denisenko, 33 games in the NHL, 7 assists. He's only played 1 game this year for Vegas, had no points in that game. Playing for Henderson in the AHL, 42 games played, 10 goals. 14 assists for 24 points. So the NHL has to be overjoyed with how the Four Nations tournament's gone down. Over 10 million viewers for Canada versus USA on Saturday. You know there's likely going to be more than that for tomorrow's final. The trick then becomes one of whether or not any of those viewers stick around for NHL games. My guess is probably not. When you get to the international games, you're going to get a lot more attention. Women's hockey went through that for years, where you'd have these tournaments, you'd have Canada and the U.S. almost always against each other in the final. That would acquire a lot of eyeballs and a lot of people watching, but it didn't necessarily translate to a lot more outside of that. So we'll see if the NHL finds a way to keep those ratings up for the NHL's sprint to the end of the regular season. The regular season ends about 6 weeks after we return to action, so I've seen people saying the regular season's too long. I mean, regular seasons are long in every sport, and I can't see the NHL ever cutting back on games, and I don't think fans would be happy because that means ticket prices would go up even further. But yeah, we'll see how many viewers they get. This means that for the NHL and the NHL owners, they've made some good money on this, and it's another likely driving force behind the NHL salary cap going through the roof. And we're definitely seeing a lot of those recently. Getting back to injury news, Kirill Kaprizov, less encouraging news for the Wild and their fans here. He hasn't skated since he had surgery. So he's not close. The extra 2 weeks, I'm sure, helps for a lot of injuries that are out there. I will likely be doing a video that's just filled with who's injured, who's not, once we get to Friday, and we're getting close to those games that we'll have on Saturday. I believe it's a 14-game day on Saturday, so I'm resting up. I'm taking it easy because I know it's going to get crazy from here. And so, yeah, Kaprizov being out will affect Minnesota. We'll see whether or not he ends up skating by this weekend. But, yeah, he hasn't skated since surgery. So, Ovechkin returning. He had a vacation of sorts, but he was also skating. He was also doing a little bit of practicing here and there. And he said the break came at the right time. And that, they feel refreshed. And a lot of players right now are going to feel refreshed, good to go. It does not feel to him like it's training camp, so it doesn't feel like they're starting from scratch. These players have been practicing and staying in shape. And so I think we're going to see some of the best hockey we've ever seen down the stretch going into a playoffs. And that's what I'm kind of excited about. I think that's going to be fun to see. And that'll be starting on Saturday. So, yeah, fun times. Reminder that the NHL's trade deadline is only 13 days after the NHL returns to action on Saturday. So Saturday, you're back to the action. Teams might give it maybe a couple of games to figure out whether or not this reset's going to help. It will be interesting to see if the teams that were playing well going into the break are playing well coming out of it. And as crazy as that sounds, a 2-week break can make a big difference. Teams that were, in their own heads and struggling may very well be more clear-headed and ready to go coming out of the break. And some teams playing really well going into the break. They don't take it easy, but maybe they don't feel that same level of pressure, and then maybe they're, a little bit slow out of the gate once this break is done on Saturday. So that's only a few days from now. So while there's a lot of excitement about tomorrow night's game, totally understandable, I'm looking forward to Saturday and beyond in the regular season and seeing who finishes where in the NHL playoffs picture. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. And remember, 12 months from now, we will be in the throes of the NHL being at the Olympics in Italy. One thing that will be interesting too with the Olympics is, so like you get 10 million viewers for Canada versus USA on Saturday, but at the Olympics, will the scheduling of those games be lined up with North American viewers, or will they be very early in the day, which might drag some of the ratings down a little bit? That's where I'll be interested once we get closer to the Olympics to see how they do that scheduling. But I'm excited about the Olympics. That's going to be a lot of fun. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.